are possible. And indeed, there is another far more credible, which answers many, if not all, of the so-called basic great mysteries of life, which are largely only great mysteries because to answer them would be fatal both for dogmatic, you will believe this religion, and this kind of materialistic science we're talking about. The way I feel it works, and interestingly, increasingly open-minded scientists feel it works, is that everything in creation is the same energy, and energy is consciousness, energy consciousness. So we're looking at creation being one gigantic consciousness, one gigantic mind, of which we are all part. So we're like droplets of water in an ocean of consciousness. We're individual to a certain extent, but altogether we make up the whole. And this consciousness is broken up into different levels of evolution. And one of the things that because of the programming that we do is when we talk about life after death or heaven, we look up, don't we? You know? I think heaven must be at 30,000 feet or something, you know. And I remember that when the penny really dropped for me was some years ago when someone said to me, you know, these different levels, you know, they're not like chest of drawers. They share the same space. Penny dropped. You start to see how these things work. Because in the space that my body is occupying now are all the wavelengths of all the frequencies of all the radio stations, television stations, telecommunications equipments broadcasting to this area. They can't see each other, and we can't see them. To them, to each frequency, they are the only one that exists. But if you get a radio and you tune it to one of those frequencies, then to the radio at that time, that is the only frequency in creation. That is its reality, just as we look around, and this is our reality. But if you move the dial on the radio, suddenly another station, another wavelength becomes its reality. And on the level of our consciousness, the thinking, feeling us, this series of energy fields that animates and works through the physical form, the genetic spacesuit, as I call it, which we use to experience this physical world, we are tuned at that level at any point in our evolution to one of creation's infinite number of wavelengths. At the moment, we're all tuned to this one, so this is our reality. But at the moment we call death, the consciousness withdraws from the physical form and moves on to another wavelength and continues its evolution. And from this perspective, so many great mysteries cease to be so. I mean, from the perspective of this world is all there is science, near-death experiences can't happen. Or if they are, there's some weird manifestation of a dying brain, to hear some scientists talk.
This is being taken increasingly seriously, though, isn't it?
It is, and so it should, because I saw an item on the news that was saying that because resuscitation equipment in the crash areas of the hospitals, you know, the resuscitation areas, has improved so much, more people are being brought back from clinical death, and more people are therefore telling near-death experiences with remarkable, amazing similarity in their stories. And all that's happening when they say, in the period that I was, quote, dead, I was looking down on my physical body and I was seeing the doctors and nurses working on it. That's just the consciousness, the thinking, feeling us, the eternal part of us, withdrawing from the physical shell. That's all that happens on what we call death. There is no death, just a moving on. And from my perspective, you know, our consciousness incarnates into endless life situations. And,
so you see an evolution going on after?
Oh, I do. I think we're on a journey of evolution through experience. I mean, you don't just evolve. I mean, if I sat in this chair forever, I wouldn't evolve. I have to experience. I have to learn from my experience. And as I do, I evolve. And that's what we're doing all the time. And often it's some of the most negative experiences, which at the time, and I've had a few, which seem terrible, you look back and you say to yourself, you know, that was horrible, but I wouldn't change it because of what it gave me. So we're kind of on this journey of experience. But, you know, the bottom line is that tomorrow is the first day of the rest of our eternity. That's the worst thing that can happen, is that we leave this physical shell. And you know, from that perspective, far from being worthless, we are unique and vital droplets in this ocean of consciousness we call God or creation. This God, as we call it, is not some guy with a beard sitting on a throne saying, you have sinned and you shall be punished, or somebody out there. It's actually within us. It's around us. It is everything. It is the consciousness that is expressing itself in all the variety of forms that we see. Obviously, we are at a different level of consciousness to a wall, but it's still, the wall is still God at a different level of consciousness. It's still the same whole.
Let me just ask you what may seem to be a rather silly question. How do you think that people will react to scientific evidence of proof of life after death? How is it going to affect people's thinking?
Well, it depends really. If you're kind of open-minded, it should be something of great joy.
A great comfort.
A great comfort. I mean, we don't die. I mean, what a great starting point. But I feel that some people will go through some emotional trauma. Those who have pinned their self-security to a rigid belief system, be it a Bible, be it a religion, be it whatever, their whole sense of security will disintegrate. And I think that that will be a traumatic time for them emotionally. But when that period is over, they will see the wonderful, joyous reality of it, which is that the divisions between us and the hostility between us that has been engineered and encouraged for controlling reasons, divide and rule, is actually not a natural part of creation at all. And that harmony is the natural part of creation, and that we're all part of each other, and we all live forever, and we're all on an endless journey of evolution. Some people are ahead of some others at some point, and at some point in the future the roles will be reversed. We're just on an endless journey of evolution through experience, and life's much easier than it is, and much more wonderful than it is portrayed.
So, David, from you, a very optimistic message with regard to life after death. For all those people that will be watching this program that have lost people, loved ones, they can be fairly sure that there will be a reunion.
For sure. I mean, one of the common themes of near-death experiences is, as people have left the physical form, consciousness left the physical form, they have been reunited with people they've known before. You know, they're all around us. The only thing that divides us from people who have gone before us, if you like, moved on before us,